Let it be understood clearly. No one has ever died. I do not speak of bodies. I do not speak of the changing garment of flesh. I speak of I am, the true self, spiritual being. This is not put forth for quarrel or for sensation. It is not to be paraded, and it is not to be sold to the intellect. It is to be recognized quietly, secretly, within the place where no breath of argument can enter. I am that I am is not a doctrine. It is the name of being. And if you and I are to be free, it will be because we consent to know that name in ourselves rather than defend a name stitched to a creature of time. You and I have felt the tightening of fear, the sound of a monitor in the night, the news that comes on a telephone line, the empty chair at the table. Do not be ashamed of it. Fear is not sin. Fear is misplacement. We placed our trust, our identity, our very worship in the creature, this form that eats and sleeps and ages, and then we trembled when the creature showed its shadow. Do you not see? We loved the costume and forgot the actor. We memorized the script and lost the life of the play. And so the thought arises, I might be ended, because we took our eye from form. Paul warned of this. They worshipped and served the creature more than the Creator. Romans 1:25. Death as a verdict is a conclusion drawn from observing the creature. A pulse that slows, a mind that forgets, a breath that ceases. The senses report, the mind concludes, and the heart consents, because the heart has been taught to kneel before form. But the Creator, the I am, that is your life, cannot be audited by the senses. Flesh and blood cannot inherit the kingdom of God. 1 Corinthians 15:50. Do you not see? If flesh and blood are not the heirs, why do you consult them for the testament of your life? Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. Not be busy and infer, not argue and convince, be still and know. As long as we set up two life on the one side, death on the other, we will live by a false measuring rod and always be afraid of the larger shadow. In spirit, there are not two powers. There is just God, whose grace is life. I speak this not as a theory to arm you for a debate, but as the way out of fear. You cannot reason your way past a funeral procession. You cannot hypnotize yourself out of grief. This work is not mental bravado. It is spiritual discernment. You will hear these words. You will agree or disagree with them in the head. And nothing will change unless the head yields and the heart knows. Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. John 8:32. Not ye shall know about the truth. And so our method is simple and relentless. We return time again and time again from the creature to the Creator, from the picture to the presence, from the fear of form to the recognition of I am. Now, in this moment, without strain, we begin the demonstration not to prove to a world, but to free our own hearts from their misplacement. Relax, rest back, withdraw your attention gently from the outline of your body, from the name on your documents, from the story you tell about your years. Let there be a hush inside. Before you can frame a thought, allow the fact to announce itself. I am, not I am this, not I am that, only I am. Hear the Master. I am the resurrection and the life. John 11:25. Hear the Christ within whisper, Lo, I am with you always. Matthew 28:20. Peace, be still. In that stillness, notice how the fear has nowhere to land, because it has no form to cling to. We are not denying the world. We are refusing to worship it. We are consenting to know life where life is. My grace is thy sufficiency. Rest in it. Now, having let the hush come over us, let us correct the measuring rod. It must be said plainly, we have been counting bodies instead of discovering being. Birth certificates, hospital wristbands, driver's licenses, anniversaries, retirement parties, obituaries. These are the census reports of form. They are not the ledger of life. They will tell you how tall, how old, how fast the pulse, how weak the grip, never who you are. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. John 7:24. Do you not see that everything the census report is change? And if it is change, how can it testify to the changeless? The thermometer rises, the calendar flips, the hair whitens, the crowd assembles and disperses. What of that has the authority to certify the I am? When you and I accept these instruments as final, we accept two powers. We permit the chart to decree our horizon and fear to trace its line in advance. Then all day long we set love against loss, diet against decay, insurance against catastrophe, and we call that prudence. It is not prudence. It is bondage to a false premise. The things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal. 2 Corinthians 4:18. Temporal means timed, measured, altered, ending. Eternal does not register on a clock. Do you not know this yet? How then can a time report pronounce upon the timeless? How can a perishable photograph tell the truth of an imperishable presence? Understand this as correction, not condemnation. We require a measuring stick for commerce, for streets and schedules, for medicine and markets, but do not take that stick into the sanctuary. To bring the pulse monitor into the Holy of Holies and ask it to locate your life is to enthrone the creature above the Creator. We do not hate the senses. We simply refuse them, the pulpit. Sense can report a picture. Spirit alone reveals the life. And when spirit reveals, there are not two powers. There is not life today with death tomorrow. There is life before Abraham was, I am. John 8:58. That is not bravado. That is identity. Do not mistake the aim of this work. It is not to make you brave in the face of dying. That is a noble posture in the arena, and men have done it with courage for centuries and then died bravely. The goal is not a better stoicism. The goal is to awaken to that which never entered the dying cycle in the first place. You cannot train the shadow to outlast the sun. You can turn and find the sun. So it is with you. Turn from the shadow play of measurements to the light of I am. We walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5-7. Faith here is not a gamble. It is spiritual discernment, the inner seeing that knows what sight cannot carry. If you measure by form, you absolutely must conclude that death is a power, for form changes and calls its changing end. And then you will spend your days arming form with vitamins, policies, iron bars, and long speeches, one power to best another power, endlessly. And it isn't going to be done in the spiritual consciousness of life. There are not two powers. There is just grace. There is the I that says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. John 14-6. Not a way added to your fear, not a truth negotiated with your senses. Life. So what is the right measuring? Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. Matthew 4:4. Bread is form. Word is being. Bread can be weighed. Word must be realized. Set your attention to the word, not in argument, not in parade quietly. Discover being where being is, within. And when the mind, trained by headlines and heartbeats, brings its old ruler out again, gently lay it down. Rest back. Ask not how old is it, but what is it? Not how long will it last, but what is its source? Then the answer arises of itself. I am. Here, the false scale falls from the hand. Here, the fear of two vanishes into the fact of one. Let it be understood clearly. The root disease is not sickness, not poverty, not bereavement. The root disease is the belief in two powers. In the material consciousness, life is a fragile possession to be protected, and death stands across the field with its scythe, an opposite force waiting its hour. That is the mental idol before which the world prays sometimes, hoping to bribe life with good habits, sometimes bargaining with death through insurance, sometimes swinging fists at the night with brave talk. And then, wonder of wonders, the very fear grows, because that entire activity concedes reality and authority to two. Life here, death there. In the spiritual consciousness, there are not two powers. There is just grace. God is, listen closely now, God is not a power to be used by man to make form permanent. God is life, the very isness in which form appears and disappears without altering reality. In him we live and move and have our being. Acts 17:28. Not by our devices, not by our regimens, but by his being already, before any strategy begins. Do you not see that every attempt to draft God as a weapon to push death away is itself the worship of death? It says, there is a great dark power, and I will get a greater light to outshine it. That is two powers. That is the disease. Consider the escalation. We add supplements and then add new ones to supplement the supplements. We test, scan, ensure, and when fear grows loud, we distract with entertainments. When entertainments fail, we philosophize. When philosophy grows thin, we take up heroic postures and call it acceptance. Pills, practices, policies, pledges, one power brought in to conquer another power endlessly. And it isn't going to be done, not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord, Zechariah 4:6. Spirit is not a stronger sword offered to your fear. Spirit is the absence of the battlefield. In spirit, there is one life, indivisible, unopposed, unthreatened. You say, but Scripture calls death an enemy. Yes, the last enemy that shall be destroyed is death. 1 Corinthians 15:26. And how is it destroyed? With more metal on the armor? No, by revelation. Resist not evil. Matthew 5:39 is the master's instruction. Not because evil is to be coddled, but because in spirit there is none to resist. We do not enthrone the shadow by organizing a parade against it. We recognize the light, and the shadow cannot be found. So with death, we do not overcome a real power named death. We overcome the belief that there is something to be overcome. Now, do you not sense the pivot? It is as simple and as radical as the mind yielding its premise. Withdraw the consent you have been giving to the picture of two. Rest back from the thought, life versus death, and let there be only life. O death, where is thy sting? O grave, where is thy victory? 1 Corinthians 15. 55. The sting was in the belief. The victory was in our surrender of worship to the creature. When the mind ceases its warfare, there is a hush. And in that hush, the I that is life announces itself without words. Then fear, having no opposite to manage and no foe to measure, dissolves. Do not mistake me. I am not asking you to neglect prudence or despise forms. I am saying only this: do not make a god of them, do not make a devil of their changes, and do not make a battlefield of your consciousness. Let life in its forms be what it is, a moving picture, and let being be what it is, the light in which the picture appears. Choose life, Deuteronomy 30-19, is not a choice between two equal contenders. It is the surrender of the hallucination of two. Choose life by ceasing to choose at all, by resting in that which is already life. Relax. Rest in the assurance that you do not bring God into the room to fend off an intruder. God is the room, the life, the being. The moment this is even faintly discerned, the two-power hypnosis begins to loose its grip. And then, without trumpet, without striving, a quiet certainty is born. There is only life, and I am. Now let me speak to you as a witness, not as a theorist. There have been hours when every material prop was gone and there was no human way to proceed. I remember a week when the cupboard was honest with me. It said nothing. The purse agreed. The dates circled on the calendar had come, and there was rent to be met, travel promised, students expecting a word. There was no patron to impress, no wealthy friend to telephone, no credit to float another day. Do you not see the gift in that? The mind will call it crisis, but the spirit knows it as the necessary crucifixion of misplaced faith. My grace is sufficient for thee, 2 Corinthians 12-9, is not a lyric for good days. It is an emancipation proclamation when the slave master of form has dismissed you from his plantation. In that silence, I sat, not bargaining, not inventing, not marshaling arguments to persuade God to act. I rested in I am. And before any check was written, before any call came, there was a shift, like a feather landing where a boulder had been, an assurance without words. I am. The supply that followed was proper and timely, but understand me, the demonstration was not the check. The demonstration was the sufficiency of grace that announced itself when the last prop had fallen. On another occasion, physicians spoke in low, learned tones, and their language was honest according to their measuring rod. Very little time. Prepare. We will make you comfortable. No quarrel, no scorn for their devotion. They spoke for the senses. I went home with those sentences echoing, and again the temptation was to import God as a counterpower to a named enemy. But we have learned, have we not? Resist not evil, Matthew 5:39. Not passivity, not carelessness, revelation. In the darkness of that night, the breath was labored, and fear rehearsed its vocabulary. Then the remembrance came, not of a technique, but of presence. It is I. Be not afraid. John 6:20. I turn not from disease to health, but from 2 to 1. Not heal me, but I live. Yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. Galatians 2:20. And something untheatrical took place. No light flashed on the wall. No angel sang. A stillness arrived that made the diagnosis an echo instead of a command. The body, in time, conformed to that peace, as shadow conforms to sun. But the demonstration, again, was not the alteration of symptoms. It was the revelation that the life that I am is not the creature's pulse. And once the chair at the table was empty for more than an evening. Many of you know that sight. The flower arrangements, the visitors, the well-meaning words, time heals and time does no such thing. Love does. But love is not the ache of form. Love is the substance of being. I wept. Yes. Let us be clear. Tears are not a denial of truth. Tears may be the washing of the window. In that washing, in the very place where the mind insisted finished, a presence filled the room that was not memory and not imagination. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Psalm 23-4. With me now, not later. Then I saw what the senses cannot frame. The one I had loved was never a costume. The costume had served and then gone to the closet. The one remained where the one had always been within and as the I am. Do you not see how tenderly the props are taken so that our worship may be released to its proper altar? So I say to you with all the authority of having met these crucifixions and tasted their wine, problems must needs be, because they strip us of the false authority we have given to the creature. This is the cross before resurrection. We have tried to attain resurrection while still fondling the props. It cannot be done. Except a corn of wheat fall into the ground and die, it abideth alone. John 12:24. The dying is not the loss of life, it is the loss of idolatry. When the prop is removed, youth, account, reputation, prognosis, position, do not call it punishment. Call it the doorway. Stand at that doorway without bravado, without the old war cries, and let the simple, unadorned fact come to you as softly as your own breath. I am. This is demonstration, and it is quiet. No parade, no trumpet, no mystical show offered to convince the skeptic. A spiritual demonstration is only visible to those of spiritual apprehension. To the senses, it often looks like nothing happened. But in you, a mountain has shifted from fear to freedom. You will know it when the next bill arrives and the heart does not jump, when the next headline shouts and your peace is not bargained away, when another season of the body passes and the witness within does not change with the leave. Fear thou not, for I am with thee. Isaiah 41:10 becomes not a promise to reach for, but a presence to rest in. Now locate, each of you, the prop that seems to be trembling in your life. Do not hold it tighter. Bless it for having served. Bless it for making room for the only. Withdraw the worship you gave it. Not your care, not your human kindness, your worship. And then, gently, as you have been learning, let go of the language of two. Let the crucifixion do its perfect work, that the resurrection not of a body, but of consciousness, may appear, rest. The certainty you seek is not across a battlefield. It is here before battle begins. In the hush where every prop fails, the I am reveals itself as the only remaining certainty, and you will discover it was the only certainty ever needed. Let it be understood clearly. What is it that seems to die? Not being, not the I that is life. It is the creature's changing costume. By creature, I mean the entire pageant of form, this body, with its height and weight, the name you answer to, the roles you are called by parent, patient, partner, professional, the history repeated at reunions, the sensations that rise and fall like weather, even the thoughts that parade as me. These are appearances in awareness. They come forward, they shimmer, they alter, they depart. All flesh is grass, and all the goodliness thereof is as the flower of the field. The grass withereth, the flower fadeth, but the word of our God shall stand forever. Isaiah 40:6-8. Flesh, flower, costume, word being. Do you not see the classification? This is not contempt. It is placement. We are putting the robe on the hook and recognizing the wearer. Now, follow me in simple honesty. A thought comes, I am afraid. Where were you before that thought appeared? A minute later, the thought is gone. Where are you now? Another thought comes, I am relieved. Who noticed both fear and relief? The body aches this morning and feels lightness this afternoon. Who is aware of the ache and the ease? As a child, your limbs lengthened, your voice changed. As an elder, your hair whitened, your steps measured. Who has known all seasons without being the season? Do you not see? There is an unhurried witness present to every change, untouched by the very change it describes. Before the mountains were brought forth, even from everlasting to everlasting, thou art God. Psalm 90:2. I am not telling you that you are a mountain. I am asking you to notice that the awareness by which you know the mountains coming and going is not a thing and therefore is not under the law of things. This is not the denial of our human scene. You will weep, you will laugh, you will sign papers, you will lie in bed when the body is weary and rise when refreshed. Give them their proper place. Render therefore unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's, and unto God the things that are God's. Matthew 22:21. The report of the sense is a Caesar's coin. Use it for its jurisdiction. And do not carry it into the sanctuary to buy your life. Appearance is not authority. It is a picture. The authority is life itself, unseen, unborn, undying. The things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal. 2 Corinthians 4:18. Temporal means timed. Eternal means not entered into time at all. When you feel the pull to enthrone a picture, memory, prognosis, photograph, pause, ask, not what does it look like, but what knows this looking. Make this discernment your gentle practice. The knower is not an object. You cannot find its color, age, outline, or weight. Instruments will not register it. Charts will not plot it. Yet everything you have ever called my life has been illumined by it. This knower does not begin with morning or end with night. Waking, dreaming, deep sleep are scenes it witnesses. They are not its borders. I am the Lord, I change not. Malachi 3-6 is not a theological boast. It is the tone of your very life when you cease mistaking yourself for the robe you wear. Your life is hid with Christ in God. Colossians 3-3. Hidden, not absent. Present, not pictured. Known, not measured. Do you not see the mercy? Only the creature changes. Only the costume frays. The knower of change is not born into change and cannot be buried in it. When Scripture says this corruptible must put on incorruption and this mortal must put on immortality, 1 Corinthians 15:53, it is not advising the tailor how to reinforce the cloth. It is inviting consciousness to relinquish identification with cloth altogether and rest as the life that wears it. Then the reflex to save, fix, extend, embalm. The picture loosens, and love, real love, appears, tender toward the forms, free of worship to them. Relax. Rest in the assurance that you are not required to make the costume imperishable. You are asked only to recognize the wearer. In that recognition, there is a hush. Thoughts come, thoughts go. Seasons come, seasons go. The one who beholds is Jesus Christ, the same yesterday and today and forever. Hebrews 13:8. Let that sameness be your center now. Without parade, without argument, gently abide as the knower, and you will find that the fear of death has lost its claim, not by battle, but by being seen as a claim upon a costume you are no longer mistaking for yourself. Peace, be still. Now we begin. Not another word to collect, but a pause to receive. Let it be understood clearly. You do not achieve I am, you recognize it. At this moment, without fuss, without posture, we turn from description to demonstration. Relax. Rest. Let the breath come and go by its own grace. Do not lift a finger in your mind to manage it. Do not make a project out of God. Be still and know that I am God is not a slogan, it is an instruction. Be still and know. Gently withdraw your hands from the levers. Do not try to fix a thought, heal a symptom, or organize an outcome. Let the eyes rest softly. If they close, let them close. If they do not, let them remain as they are. The breath moves. You are not moving it. It comes, it goes. Between its coming and its going, notice the simple fact that you are before the mind adds a label. Tired, anxious, eager. There is this bright, unconstructed fact. I am, not the sentence I am, but the felt, silent being of it. The kingdom of God is within you. Luke 17:21. Within what? Within this awareness that is now noticing itself. The mind will try, with good intentions, to help. It will say, hold this feeling, frame it, name it, prepare a method to get it again. Gently smile at that. Do you not see? Holding is a form of fear. Naming is a way of making it an object. You cannot hold the sky. You do not seize the sunrise. You receive it. So it is here. Be as one, listening for a distant tide, nothing to grasp, everything to allow. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Isaiah 30:15. Quietness, not grasping. Confidence, not strategy. A thought appears. I am afraid. Let it be. Do not fight. Resist not evil. Matthew 5:39. See how the thought arrives like a bird and departs like a bird. Who saw its coming and its going? A sensation flickers in the body. Do not chase it with explanations. Who knows the flicker? Return unmoving to the simple prior fact. I am. Before Abraham was, I am. John 8:58. Before the tremor, before the sentence about it, I am. Touch that not with fingers, not with logic, with the same unforced noticing by which you hear a bell long after it has been struck. Let the breath continue its humble ministry. If another thought announces, this is it, keep it. Notice that too and let it pass. We are not collecting experiences. We are consenting to presence. Take no thought for your life. Matthew 6:25. Does not mean neglect your affairs. It means do not enthrone thought as your life. Life is here before thought. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth, John 14:27. The world gives by object and withdraws by object. This peace gives itself by being itself, and you know it by resting, not by taking. Now, simply remain as this listening. If the room coughs, let it be part of the music. If a memory taps your shoulder, bless it and let it walk on. If the body shifts, bless it and let it settle. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Exodus 14:13. Salvation not as an event to come, but as the all-readiness of I am that requires nothing of you but non-resistance. Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Matthew 11:28. This rest is not sleep. It is release from the project of becoming. Do you notice, even faintly, that you are present? Not the story about you present, not the role present. This is all we are doing, not climbing, not bargaining, not polishing an identity. We are recognizing what never entered the dying cycle and will not enter it when this hour ends. If fear tries to form, it will look for a picture to cling to. Give it none by staying before the picture here, as I am. Peace, be still. And in this stillness, let the quiet demonstration begin. Nothing added, nothing kept, only presence recognized. My grace is thy sufficiency. Rest in it. Now someone will say, and rightly from the world's record, but people do die. Let it be understood clearly. We do not swat that sentence away as if it were a gnat. Chairs do grow empty. Hands that once held us rest, now out of sight. The obituary does appear on the page. Grief is felt as surely as rain is felt, and we will not add cruelty to sorrow by pretending that feeling is unreal. Jesus wept, John 11:35. Tears are not a denial of truth. They are the human heart washing itself in love. So we begin here with gentleness, with honesty, and with no desire to win a point while someone's heart bleeds. But we will not turn the sanctuary into a courtroom. Resist not evil, Matthew 5:39, applies as much to debate as it does to disease. The moment you set out to prove to the senses that death has no power, you have already conceded that power by entering its arena. One power brought in to conquer another power endlessly, and it isn't going to be done. Do you not see? We are not here to arm ourselves with finer arguments against the record of form. We are here to withdraw worship from the record and rest in what remains. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. John 7:24. Righteous judgment is not denial of what appears. It is the recognition that appearance is not authority. Let us make the distinction that frees. Form has seasons. Being has no season. What disappears is what was appearing. What remains is what was aware of the appearing. The flower comes forward, blossoms, fades. The light by which you saw it did not blossom and does not fade. Bodies are born into sight, move through sight, pass from sight. Awareness, the very eye that knows sight itself, does not come and go with what is seen. God is not the God of the dead, but of the living, Matthew 22:32. The Master did not say, I will be the resurrection. He said, I am the resurrection and the life, John 11:25. I am, not I shall be. Now, not later. Life is not postponed to outlive a funeral. Life is the presence in which the entire pageant of funerals and birthdays takes place. You have heard it said by some of us, no one has ever died. Do not use that as a slogan. It is not a trophy for the mind to wave over the graves of others. It is a door. Step through quietly. When that phrase is felt in the heart, it does not erase the name on a stone. It erases the fear that your life is a stone. It points you back to I am the witness of all comings and goings, so that the war within you may end. He that liveth and believeth in me shall never die. Believest thou this? 11:26. Do you not hear that the believing is not assent to an idea, but the resting of consciousness in the one who is life? I have sat in rooms where the air was heavy with this objection. I have learned not to strain. In that moment, do not craft a better sentence. Do not marshal a finer proof. Be still. Feel the breath come and go without your help. A thought says, but they died. Let it be. Let it pass. Return not to a counter-argument, but to the prior fact before thought, before picture I am. In that resting, something untheatrical happens. The tyranny of the appearance loosens. The picture need not be fought. It simply no longer occupies the altar. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Isaiah 30-15. So, yes, the world will continue to report what it must report. Caesar will have his census, and you will render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar's. Matthew 22:21. Arrange the service, comfort the family, sign what must be signed, but unto God give what is God's. Your worship, your trust, your identity. Withhold from the appearance the authority to tell you what life is. Withdraw the frightened bow. Refuse the battlefield. Rest in what remains. Then, while the forms take their seasons, you will find a peace that does not wait for seasons to change, a love that does not begin at a crib or end at a stone, and a life that, being itself, needs no defense. Peace, be still. In that stillness, the fear has no witness, and therefore no foothold. My grace is thy sufficiency. Rest in it. Let it be understood clearly. Truth is not a weapon to be used against another's sorrow. Love does not arrive with a sword to cut short a weeping. A bruised reed shall he not break, and the smoking flax shall he not quench. Matthew 12:20. If the master himself would not trample a tender stalk, how shall we, in our zeal, force a realization into a heart that is aching? Do you not see that to insist, to press, to argue in the face of pain is to turn grace into a power and to make yourself the manager of another's awakening? And God is not a power to be used by man, nor is your brother's heart a project for your peace of mind. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. 2 Corinthians 3:17. Liberty, not compulsion. I speak to you out of having made my mistakes. There was a time when, standing at a bedside and feeling the tension of others' fear, I mistook my own discomfort for guidance. I spoke too many words. I tried to place a revelation where only presence belonged. The air grew tight, and though my phrases were true, they were misused. Later, chastened, I learned to sit, to hold a hand, to fetch a glass of water, to telephone the neighbor, to pay a bill without announcement, to say little or nothing, and the room softened. Comfort ye, my people. Isaiah 40:1 is not a lecture. It is the warmth of presence that asks nothing. Weep with them that weep, Romans 12:15. That is scripture. That is permission. So, establish this boundary in your heart. Never force this teaching on family or friends to relieve your own discomfort. Do not try to create a demonstration so that they will be convinced. A spiritual demonstration is only visible to those of spiritual apprehension. How could they see it according to the senses, even if you made it? No man can come to me except the Father which hath sent me draw him. John 6:44. It is the inner drawing, not your urgent words, that opens the eye. You may offer them, if they are receptive, a book, a pamphlet, or a gentle sentence. But you should not go further than that. Cast not your pearls before swine, Matthew 7-6, is not an insult to anyone. It is a caution to you not to hurl holy things at unready hours and then call the bruise a blessing. Now, right action. What shall you do when someone is swallowed up in grief? Be there. Sit without fidgeting. Make the tea. Fold the clothes. Drive them to the office that requires their signature and wait without sighing. Answer the door. Protect their quiet. Do not decorate their pain with explanations. If they ask, you may answer with meekness and fear. 1 Peter 3:15. A sentence no longer than their breath. Then stop. Let the Father within do his own revealing in his own way, in his own time. Stand fast, therefore, in the liberty wherewith Christ hath made us free. Galatians 5:1. And grant that very liberty to those you love. Why does coercion fail? Because it assumes two powers. Your will against their sorrow. Your rhetoric against their record. It drags you back onto the battlefield we have just left. It seeks to use truth as leverage and turns love into strategy. It violates freedom, and freedom is the atmosphere of spirit. Do you not see? Even the wish to hurry their relief may be your fear, disguised as compassion, seeking reassurance by changing their face. Be honest. If urgency rises, they must see this now, recognize it. Do not trust it. Let that very urgency be your reminder to return quietly to I am. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. Not their God to be proven. God present, sufficient, relax. Rest in the assurance that love does the teaching by being itself. Say within yourself, even as you sit beside them, Father, thy grace is sufficient here. Confer. 2 Corinthians 12-9. Then be still. If a word is needed, it will be given. Luke 12:12. If no word is needed, silence will be the sermon. Let tears do their honest work and do not correct them. Let the forms of kindness be your ministry and withdraw the impulse to convert. In granting freedom, you are trusting God more than your method, and you are protecting the sanctuary of another's heart from your well-meaning invasion. In this way, sorrow is not argued with, it is loved. And in love, in time not measured by clocks, realization dawns without coercion. The night passes, not because we force the sun to rise, but because dawn belongs to the nature of light. So it is. Truth is not a weapon. Truth is a light. Let it shine without pushing. Let it reveal without pressure. My peace I give unto you, John 14:27. Share that peace by being it, and leave the rest to God. Let it be understood clearly. The fear of death does not wait for a hospital room or a funeral procession. It whispers in the office. It hums in the kitchen. It looks back at you in the mirror. It disguises itself as a frantic need to secure form money, metrics, reputations, plans, stacked upon plans. Do you not see? When we bow to these as life, we are worshiping the creature more than the creator, Romans 1:25. And then, inevitably, we fear the creature's ending because we have enthroned it as our beginning. The I am is untouched by these turnings, yet our habit is to treat turnings as ultimate. This is our correction. Consider money. You and I know that lift or that drop in the heart when we glance at the account and watch the number move as if a digit were the weather of our existence. That is a false measuring rod. Supply is not stored in accounts any more than light is stored in the lamp. The account is a conduit, a picture. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God. Matthew 4:4. You do not live on yesterday's manna. You live by grace present, not preserved. Use your accounts. Balance them. Render unto Caesar what belongs to Caesar, but unto God give your worship. When the market frowns or the paycheck delays, do not call panic prudence. Be still. Let the fear announce itself as merely another thought, and do not fear anything that has form, not even a thought. Return to I am. The channel may change, the source does not. Your heavenly Father knoweth that ye have need of all these things. Matthew 6:32. Knowing this is not arithmetic, it is rest. And in that rest, the form arrives in its season without your idolatry riding on it. Now health, a step counter on the wrist, a shelf of bottles, appointments lined up like soldiers, screens to read, scans to interpret. None of this is evil. But do not be fooled by the glitter of management. Life is not stored in flesh. Life is not the sum of your numbers, and your being is not a chart. When a sensation knocks, do not meet it with an army. Resist not evil. Matthew 5:39. That is not neglect. It is wisdom. Attend to care without bowing to fear. The body is the costume. Being is the wearer. Let the diagnosis have its jurisdiction in Caesar's realm, but do not carry it into the sanctuary as law. The law of the Spirit of life in Christ Jesus hath made me free from the law of sin and death. Romans 8:2. Do you not see? When you rest in I am, the body, like a shadow to the sun, will show forth what peace decrees. And even when it does not conform as you have pictured, the life that you are is not deformed. Control. Titles. Approvals. Calendars colored to the hour, locks, passwords, policies, alerts, so much noise to persuade us that security is a structure we build. Put not your trust in princes, nor in the Son of Man, in whom there is no help. Psalm 146:3. Governments will pass laws and revoke them. Supervisors will praise and forget. Algorithms will smile and frown. Security is not stored in governments or routines. Plan reasonably, yes. Show up for your appointments, yes. But while you move in forms, withdraw your worship from them. Do you not see how the constant planning is often a nervous liturgy to keep death at bay? It cannot be done, not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit. Zechariah 4-6. Freedom is not the ability to control. Freedom is the absence of the need to. And hear this without dread. Every material prop is going to be taken away from mankind. This is not a threat. It is mercy. For as long as a prop seems to bear your life, you will be its servant. When it is removed, you will have the holy opportunity to find that the life that carried you before the prop is the life that carries you now. This is the everyday proof. The next time the balance dips, or the chest tightens, or the plan collapses, do not run first for a new idol. Pause. Notice the thought that hurries to the altar. Do not fear it. Let it pass. Turn quietly to I am. Say within, not as a spell, but as recognition, my grace is sufficient for thee. 2 Corinthians 12-9. Then act if action is needed, but act as one upheld, not as one upholding the universe. So it is. Supply is not stored in accounts. Health is not stored in flesh. Security is not stored in governments or routines. These are forms. They are servants, never masters. When you stop worshiping props, you discover the life that was supporting you before the props, beneath the props, beyond the props. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. Matthew 6:33. Seek not a thing, seek the presence, rest in it, and you will find that fear in money, in health, in control, has no witness, and therefore no foothold. Peace, be still. My grace is thy sufficiency. Rest in it. Let it be understood clearly. You can memorize every sentence we have spoken tonight and still tremble at 2 a.m. You can quote before Abraham was I am and still lie there bargaining with shadows. That is not sin. That is simply evidence that knowledge in the head has not yet become vision in the heart. Flesh and blood hath not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven. Matthew 16:17. Do you not see? Information about God is not God. Repeating statements is not the same as resting in presence. Heart knowing is not won by argument. It is established by quiet, repeated return to I am until the very air within you takes on that fragrance. How is this accomplished? By living with truth, time again and time again and time again, not cramming, not collecting, not proving, living. Thy word have I hid in mine heart, Psalm 119:11. Hidden where? In the heart, not stacked on the bookshelf of the mind. You take a single line, my grace is sufficient for thee, 2 Corinthians 12-9. And you do not parade it as a charm. You sit with it until it is no longer a sentence, but an atmosphere. You carry it into washing the dishes, into the elevator, into the waiting room. You breathe with it. You let it interrupt you. This book of the law shall not depart out of thy mouth, but thou shalt meditate therein day and night. Joshua 1-8. Day and night is not a schedule of hours. It is an orientation of heart. Now, do not be startled when you oscillate. You will. There will be a morning radiant with clarity, and before lunch the old fear will be tapping at the window. This is not failure. This is the mind shedding its worship of form as a snake sheds a skin, flaky, awkward, not pretty. Remember Peter. He walked upon the water at the word, and then, seeing the wind boisterous, he began to sink. Matthew 14:28, 3:1. The master did not write him off. He reached and lifted. So it is. Each time you notice that you are sinking into appearances, you do not scold. You return immediately, quietly. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Isaiah 30-15. Establish then a gentle weekly rhythm. Each morning, before the device, before the inbox, sit 3 to 5 minutes in stillness. Be still and know Psalm 46-10. Not long, not heroic. Let the breath move unmanaged and consent to the prior fact. I am. At midday, pause 30 seconds, 3 breaths, and return. Say within, not aloud unless you are alone. Father, thou art my life. In the evening, just before sleep takes you, withdraw your hands from the day. Let pictures fade and rest again as I am. On one day each week, give yourself a longer Sabbath of quiet, 15-20 minutes to sink past the surface. Read a paragraph of truth, close the book, and sit. Do not read chapters to feel accomplished. Precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little and there a little. Isaiah 28-10. Here a little is enough when it is lived. And when the fear narrative arises and it will meet it at the door without wrestling, the mind begins. What if, and then, suppose, do not argue, resist not evil. Matthew 5:39. See the story forming and return at once to the unformed presence I am. If you forget and chase the story down the hall, do not add condemnation to forgetfulness. Turn back now, not later, now. We overcome the belief that there is something to be overcome by withdrawing consent from the battlefield and standing again in life. Pray without ceasing, 1 Thessalonians 5:17, does not mean speak without breathing. It means do not wander far from the center. And if you do, come home quickly and without drama. I speak to you from the experience of having had to do this not as a theory, but as necessity. When supply contracted and prognosis darkened, the mind tried to engineer safety with sentences. It didn't work, but the quiet, repeated return, again and again, ripened into an inner climate where fear could not root. Relax, rest in the assurance that this is the way, simple, steady, faithful, not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit. Zechariah 4-6. In time, not clock time, but ripening time, the head's learning becomes the heart's knowing, and then, even as forms change, you abide. He that hath ears to hear, let him hear. Matthew 11:15. Hear and return. Return and rest. My grace is thy sufficiency. Live with it until it lives as you. At this moment, let us all be still. Settle as you are. Unclench the hands if they are tight. Open them and let them rest. Soften the jaw. Let the shoulders lower of their own accord. You are not performing. You are not improving. You are consenting. If there is a cough, do not repress it. If a foot must shift, let it shift. Nothing forced. Nothing sacred is so fragile that a body's honesty can harm it. Peace. Be still. Let the breath come and go by its own grace. You are not required to regulate the ocean. It rises, it falls. Between rising and falling, notice the simplest fact. You are aware, not the story you carry aware, not the age in the passport aware. Awareness does not wrinkle. Awareness does not count years. It is now. It is whole. Be still and know that I am God, Psalm 46:10. Know, not think about. Know in this unmoving center that needs no assistance. A picture may come, a face remembered, a hospital corridor, a calendar date. Do not push it away. Do not bow to it. Let it appear as a cloud appears against the sky. Who sees the cloud? Remain as the seeing. Remain as the eye that is present before the picture and after it passes. My grace is thy sufficiency, 2 Corinthians 12-9. Let that sentence rest like a warm hand on the heart. My grace is thy sufficiency, not by might nor by power, but by my spirit. Zechariah 4-6. Nothing for you to push, everything for you to allow. If a fear whispers, hold this. Do not lose it. Bless the whisper and let it float by. You cannot hold the sky. You cannot misplace the sky. Do you not see? This awareness by which the whisper is known is not in the dying cycle. It is the light in which all cycles turn. In him we live and move and have our being. Acts 17:28. Feel the truth of that, however faintly. We live in this presence, not beside it. We move as its expression, not apart from it. Our being is not on loan. It is God's own life showing forth as you. Now, inwardly, without sound, say, Father, thou art my life. Not as a plea, as recognition. Rest back, as if leaning into an arm that has never failed. If the room stirs, include the stirring in the stillness. If a car passes outside, include the sound in the stillness. Nothing is outside of God. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Exodus 14:13. Not an event to be arranged, but a presence to be recognized. Notice again, simply, that you are aware. This is the door. Before the word I, this I am is. Before the mind can name it, it is. Death cannot enter here because there is no witness for it. In this recognition, fear finds no seat, no altar, no echo. My peace I give unto you, John 14:27. Receive what is already given by not reaching for it. Receive by ceasing to reach. Let us seal this now. Peace, be still. My grace is thy sufficiency. Not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit. Carry this atmosphere with you, not as a task, but as a fragrance. And tomorrow, be with this 15 minutes early before your day begins, so you enter life from being, not from fear. Sit, unclench, let the body be as it is. Let the cough come if it must. Attend to the felt sense that awareness is ageless, present, complete. Do this quietly, faithfully. In that silent recognition of I am, the fear of death finds no witness and therefore no foothold. Rest in it. And as you go, remember, God is. That is enough.